add additional perspective to today's events, we've brought together an outstanding panel of experts to talk about these topics and reflect on the announcements made today by Unify. I'm joined here by Dan Schaubel, Managing Partner of Millennial Branding, a Gen Y research and consulting firm, and an expert on how company cultures are being transformed by the influx of Gen Ys into the workplace. Sheila McGee-Smith of McGee-Smith Analytics. She's a leading industry analyst, highly respected for her keen understanding of the unified communications market. And Ray Wang, Principal Analyst and CEO at Constellation Research. Ray is one of Silicon Valley's thought leaders on enterprise software, disruptive technologies, and new business models. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Happy to be here. I want to start right off with the name. First thoughts, reaction. What do you guys think?
I think it makes a lot of sense because, especially for millennials, they want collaboration. They want to, be equal and have an equal voice and really showcase everything that they have to offer in a meaningful way through technology over everything else.
So it's millennial ready, millennial friendly.
Absolutely.
What were you going to say, Sheila?
What I was going to say is, we've talked about unified communications in this space, right? And it's really not just about communications. It's unifying lots of other things, applications, people. So taking it up a level, I think, is what this name helps to do.
And what about you, Ray? Thoughts on the name?
I mean, this is channels, this is the way we work, this is customers, this is bringing in a whole new era of actually how people work with each other.
I'd love for you to talk a little bit about IT, communications, cloud computing. Like, you're at this enterprise software plus communications nexus. What do you see happening out there, and what have you heard today that connects to your own research?
Well, one of the things that's happening is we're moving into a digital business environment, and there are 5 pillars that are there: social, mobile, cloud, big data, and video. They're converging. And when we also think about how people work, where we work, when we work, how we work, what we work, even the rationale of why we work, it's changing. We've got digital natives, digital immigrants, all these people are coming together, experiries are changing.
What's a digital immigrant? I got to pause you on that one.
Digital immigrant is someone that just discovered the internet, right? It's like, what do I do? How do I get on? Where do I, what's a hashtag?
And Sheila, what's most exciting for you about what you've heard today or what you see going on in general?
So a big part of my life has been covering the customer experience and bringing better technology to the customer experience. And over time, all the Project Ansible stuff that you saw on the videos and that we're seeing and will be starting to come out at the end of the year is going to extend into that. So it's taking it beyond just the enterprise itself and into the customers. So that's what I'm excited about.
And I got to talk to you about these millennials. You guys are everywhere. We've used the word influx.
We're taking over.
Maybe invasion is even a better word. You've written books. You give these talks. What do you people want?
Well, 75% of the global workforce will be millennials by 2025. And so that number is just increasing. There's 80 million of them in the United States alone. And so millennials want collaboration. They want to be able to work from home, work from anywhere they want. And I think that's one of the big messages today is with all these new tools, you're able to do that. And they love video. I mean, YouTube is the second, most popular search engine. Why do you think? Well, part of it is because of millennials, so the video component is also really important to them.
And I'm really glad you pegged YouTube as a search engine. As an aside, a lot of people don't quite get that, so you know your stuff. Thank you very much. Anybody want to add anything before we wrap our segment here?
Yeah, I think what's changing right now is we're moving to a world where we're going from real time to right time. Context is becoming even more important. So you and me and a role and a relationship, how do we tie back to locations? How do we tie back to time? What do we tie back to subjects? And so we're going to see contextual play a big role in what Unify does.
The idea of contextual, I mean, there's another phrase that's emerging. I know Robert Scoble's got a book about contextual computing coming out. And from a personal perspective, I've loved all the tools and all the ability to play around, but raw information alone isn't enough. What are you hearing or thinking, especially you two who work in the more corporate enterprise space? What do people need in terms of that context? What are the missing pieces to glue this together to make it actually work?
A real simple example in a mobile environment. You and I were talking about this. It's when I call into a contact center from my mobile phone.
First of all, I'm sorry you have to do that. On behalf of humanity, I apologize that we still have to call up customer care centers. That feels like a failure of civilization.
We still need people, right, to answer the questions.
That's right.
And I want them to have all of the context. What have I been doing? What am I in the middle of? I just tried to take a picture and deposit a check and something screwed up. This is important, and I want you to know it, and I don't want you to ask me from the start. what are you doing?
Or ask me 3 different times throughout that contact. I just told your machine over here, and why? Because your machine talked to the human that I've been handed off to.
Great example of context.
Yeah.
Well, and back to your point, I mean, consumerization is happening. The world of B2B and B2C is dead. We're back to people networks. We're actually even back to machine networks. They're even talking back to us. So,
Whoa, wait, that sounds almost scary, but I'm not going to get all Skynet on you. Let's just keep going.
but it's this Internet of Things that people are talking about, right? Machines are talking to people are talking to machines. Our role in our personal lives are blending with our work lives, and it's context that keeps them separate. We are different people in different contexts.
And that's especially true with millennials. They don't see the difference between personal and professional, and they all want to be, equal on the same page. They're flattening corporate hierarchies too, right? And through the technology, they're able to do that. They're all about bring your device to work. Like they want to choose. I don't want to have to bring
your
a
daughter to
BlackBerry.
work. Now it's bring your device to work.
Exactly. Yeah, and so these tools are really effective to them because that's how they express themselves.
Yeah.
They're less about going into an office and talking to their manager and more about using tools to connect with people.
And we're also seeing networks shift in terms of how people work.
Yeah.
Corporations are traditionally hiring people. You're not. You're hiring into a network. So the personal network you bring to work, and the reason you work is changing. So you have a higher purpose. You bring your network with you. You go do some good, and you also make some money along the way.
There's almost like there's a potentially virtuous cycle for all of this, because what you just said reminded me of this notion that we've got the idea to try to get knowledge out of the company. That there's knowledge within the company, we can somehow mine it and act more appropriately and more professionally and with more speed than our competitors. But there's also knowledge tied in each person, and not just within them, within their network. So these networks work in all directions. It's not just about the single employee tapping into the company's knowledge. It's about the company tapping into the world of knowledge that employee is connected to.
And the personal brand and the corporate brand are being related. And as we move forward, it's actually we're building authentic businesses based on those reputations.
Yeah. I thank you. I have nothing else to say, but that was really smart. I'm really glad you're here. Anybody else have anything you want to throw in?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely a huge proponent of personal branding. I wrote a book on it, and I think everyone now has a voice, regardless if you're the millennial who just got into the company or you're the CEO. And so through tools, people can interact at different levels, which brings people together, especially creating a more diverse culture where everyone can take part in the greater brand.
Well, thank you all so much. We have a millennial-friendly brand. We have context coming in all directions. We have the impact on the customer experience, which is ultimately what drives business to begin with. So thank you all so much for joining us. My thanks to Sheila, Dan, and Ray. All of them will be participating in a special tweet chat following this broadcast at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, hosted by our very own Chris Hummel. You can find it at twubs.com. I didn't make that up. Twubs.com. TWUBS.com/NW2W. All caps. NW numeral 2 letter W as in new way to work. The conversation continues on the hashtag Unify Now. And I know these panelists will be joining me, and we invite you to join us as well. Our Twitter handles are right there on your screen, so chat us up. In fact, I'm going to tweet about this panel right now. We'll be right back.